Hi there, this is Dr. John Whitcomb talking about The Trouble with Iron Part 4. And my reference for this still remains the book by Preston Estep called The Brain Span Diet. Read that book and get this in detail. Well, here's the concept. I need to know the nitty-gritty of what's happening with iron. I like to know details. So here's the three concepts to recognize. Concept number one is the APOE4 gene. Now we have an APOE 2, 3, and 4. The 2 has 2 binding sites. The 3 has 1 binding site. The 4 has no binding sites with sulfur. And that may be why the 4 is such a high risk. And just last year, a study came out showing that folks who have APOE4 end up with more iron in their spinal fluid on spinal tap. And that is enough of a smoking gun to suggest that that may be what's behind the driving force behind generating Alzheimer's. The APOE4 gene seems to be connected to more iron getting into your brain. Okay, that's number one. Number two is the APP element, which is the amyloid, the protein that's responsible for getting rid of amyloid. And getting rid of iron. And what it does is it excretes iron, and as it does so, a little piece gets snipped off, and then that piece is what accumulates into what we call plaque. So the APP protein is also critical. Now what's interesting is the APP protein was found in Iceland to have a variant, and those folks get about a 10-year extension of their brain span, even though they may have the APOE4 gene. It seems to negate that effect. Well, isn't that interesting? The final concept is the iron responsive element, IRE. Now there's only 20 genes in all 20,000, so less than 0.1% of our genes participate in the iron responsive element, and it turns on when there's too much iron, and it turns on the production of APP. All right, so APP, amyloid precursor protein, the sequence of events, the nitty-gritty, goes as follows. 1, you are exposed to too much iron, either because you're getting older, or you eat too much red meat, or you eat too many cereals fortified with iron. You're no longer menstruating, having babies if you're a female. All those things add up to an increased element of iron. Number 2, the iron responsive element turns on, making you make more. Number 3, APP, the amyloid precursor protein, that turns on. Its job is to export iron and gets snipped off, making more amyloid. So now you're making more amyloid protein. That starts accumulating. Your cleanup crew comes around trying to clean it all up and eventually gets overwhelmed, can't clean it all up. Amyloid protein is sticky, it causes synapses to break, and your brain deteriorates. That's it in the detail. What will work for me? Well, we have a smoking gun here that suggests that iron is front and center of our development of Alzheimer's, and we need to figure out how to get less iron in our diet. I have been measuring hundreds of people's of iron, and I have found ferritins of 500-600 in many men who weren't aware of it. I have been sending them, all of them, to donate blood to the Red Cross. What you want, recognize, is an iron level, a ferritin of 40. So go to the Red Cross, give some iron. Look at your breakfast cereal. Make sure it's not fortified. Stop eating large slabs of red, bloody meat and start finding fish. It's a better alternative. This is Dr. John Whitcomb telling you about The Trouble with Iron, Part 4, the nitty-gritty details.